In this last part, I want to show you reveal techniques. Reveal techniques are engaging ways to reveal information to your students. That information could be directions, answers, pictures, basically anything that you don't want them to see at the beginning, but then you want to reveal to them at some point during your lesson. Um, the first example I want to show you here is screen shade, and that's actually what I'm using right now, and it's very easy. You can add a screen shade to any slide, and that lets you reveal information. Then I'll show you the erase and reveal, the drag and reveal, the click and reveal, delete and reveal, pull and reveal, and link to reveal. And there are other different techniques you can probably come up with, but these are just some of the basic ones that I have used myself, and so I'll go over these with you. The first one I want to show you is that screen shade. The first thing I'll show you is if you click a screen shade, it changes color. That way you can make it match whatever theme you have on your page. But I'll just leave it on the default for me. And you can click and move it based on these dots. There's a dot at the top, and there are dots on the side. You can only move it from straight up and down vertically, and you can move it side to side. You cannot move a screen shade at a diagonal. How do you add a screen shade to a page? You basically come up to this little icon up here in your images and your icon shortcuts, and you click this one that looks like a little blind that would cover a window, like you pull it down to cover a window, and it shades that whole slide for you. You pull it down to where you want it to start after you built the content, right? I built my content first, and then I put my shade on, and wherever I leave it, and if I hit save for my presentation and I open it the next day or the next week or whenever I do it again, that will be in that spot ready to go. So the students will be able to see this at the beginning, and then as I begin teaching, I start pulling that down to reveal the information. So screen shade's a pretty easy one. The next one I want to show you is called erase and reveal. And basically, I have a basic math fact here that I'm going to use over and over again, 2 plus 3, just so I can reveal the answer to you when I'm ready to do that in my lesson, or if the students are using this file as like a self-check of some sort, they would do it themselves. But basically what I've done is I've covered the answer. The answer is always here. I just want to reveal it to you at a certain point or in a certain method. So basically I covered the answer with ink from a pen that's the same color as the background. So basically if I erase that ink, I now see the answer. So basically how did I do that? I typed it up with text, I locked it in place so it won't move, and then I went to my pen, went to my regular pen, and changed the color to the gray that matches the background. And it's kind of tough to scribble like this. It will take you a little bit. So what I suggest is going to your line thickness, your line style, and make it a little bit thicker. It'll save you a little bit of time when you're doing erase and reveal. So now you can't see it. It's not there. And when the students are ready, or when you're ready to reveal the answer, maybe they did their work over here and now they're ready to check their answer, or however you're trying to reveal information, you just erase it when you're ready. It's nice and clean and pretty simple to do. The next one I have for you, it's the same problem. It's called click and reveal. And for click and reveal, what that does is if I click an object, so instead of covering my answer with ink, I covered my answer with an object. And if I click it, I told that object to fly off the screen in order to reveal the answer. So it's a similar idea, but instead of using ink, I'm using an object. I'm going to go back a slide and return. That way it comes back. It won't come back unless you do that. So I have my object here. So what did I do? How did I do this? I basically went to the shapes and used a star. You can use hearts. You can create your own shapes. It can be a picture. It can be anything you want it to be. You just cover it with an object. And then I showed you this in one of the earlier videos that you can change the properties of this with animation. So I'm going to show you that again quickly. This star is locked because I didn't want it to get changed. So actually I right click it and I went to unlock. That will allow me to edit it. And then when I right click it again, it gives me my marquee. If I did the left click, it would fly off the screen again. So that's why I didn't do a left click, I did a right click. But when I do that, I can now come to the left hand side and go to properties, because this is not at the top, right? We have properties that we can change like color and things at the top. But on the left hand side, I can go here and say, ooh, object animation is something extra I can do here. So I tell that star I want it to fly out. This time, let's change it to fade out. That basically means it will disappear. So I want that star to disappear slowly when it's clicked, right? So it's going to slowly disappear and reveal the answer when I click it. So that all sounds good to me. I'm going to click back on my slide. I'm going to right click and I want to lock it. That way it doesn't get messed up. All right, and now whenever I'm ready to reveal the answer, I just left click it and it fades away. Just like it flew off the screen last time, I just changed that setting to fade away, and either way it works. The steps are the same to set that up. So erase and reveal and click and reveal are very similar, just one's with ink and the other one's with an object, and then you got to tell that object what you want to do by going to properties over here on the left hand side tab. So once again, this one's actually a little bit easier. I'm covering up the answer with an object just the same way. I'm using a heart, but it could be any object. I'm covering it up. Now I could set up the animation, right? I could do all that same stuff I just did, but this one says no animation. So this one's called delete and reveal. So do you remember how to delete a heart? You can't erase the heart, so it's not erase and reveal. You actually have to select it, and you can either drop down delete it, which is not as fun, but you can click it and you can just hit the X, and I've now revealed the answer. So that one is actually a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about animations, but it's not quite as fun as the animations. So it's up to you and your preferences there. Delete and reveal is another possibility. You delete an object from on top of the answer that's already there. Pull and reveal. So this one's slightly different. The answer is not here this time, right? The answer is actually connected to this arrow that's hanging off the side of my slide. So I'm going to pull this arrow into the line of view, and guess what? Attached to that arrow, I have the answer. So let me show you what I've done here. So you can right click on an object. You can unlock, these are grouped together. So first I have to unlock them because I locked them so they wouldn't get messed up. I have them in the same group, so now they're unlocked. I can do whatever I want with them, but they're still attached to each other. So basically I will ungroup them because I told them to be grouped together, and I have two separate pieces. This is just a text, so I went to the A and typed the number 5. Actually, you know what we can do? Let's just recreate the same thing right underneath it, right? And I can make it bold or anything else I want to do, right? So something like that. And I can say I want that arrow, but it doesn't have to be an arrow. Just basically anything you tell them to pull will work. Arrows make sense to me, so that's what I use. So if I draw an arrow, right? Something similar to that. I can click the arrow, I can rotate the arrow. If you want them to pull the other direction, if you want it to hang off the other side, you can have it go the other way, but let's just do the same thing that we had already done. All right, and I can go change the color of it. Let's make it different this time. Let's say I want green in the middle and brown on the outside. It doesn't really matter, right? And then if I click the object, I should be able to put text right on top of it. Oh, it's going to go sideways. So actually, here's what I need to do. I'm going to type in a different text box. I went to text box. I'm going to say pull to reveal. And what's nice about text, which I don't think I showed you this before, that text is not the size I need. I usually just type whatever I want to type, and I can resize it down. It changes the font size for me automatically. So usually I just type it, and I don't worry about the size, and then I put it where I want, and change it, move it, get exactly what I want. And so basically I have an arrow, I have text, and I have another piece of text, which is the 5. And I guess these are probably grouped together up here. I didn't show you that. Ungroup those. So exactly the same thing. I had separate text on top of an arrow, separate text on top of an arrow, and I had a 5. You can either group these two together, or you can just group all 3. Right? I actually did this. I grouped these together first, and then I grouped it with this. But you could just group all 3 together at once. Now these are now going to act as one object. So I can get these guys out of my way. Delete. Move this one up here instead. And it hangs off the slide, so you can't see the answer, but when they're ready to reveal the answer, they just pull it out like that. Another thing I like to do is if you go to lock, I don't like to lock it in place. That won't let it move. But if I say lock in place but allow it to move horizontally, that means I can't go wherever I want. I can't pull it up and down, but I can only pull it sideways. It makes it a little bit more smooth looking, but obviously it's not required. You can have it lock but just allow move, and that will allow them to move it anywhere they want to. But I like to pull it straight out, that way it's perfectly in line. So I'm going to go back to lock. I'm just right clicking on the lock, and I'm going to say allow that horizontal move. So it's only going to allow this. I can't go up and down. All right. Do we have one more? Yeah, okay, link to reveal. So what this does is it works similar to the animation that we did before, but basically I'm telling this object, this picture here that has the answer on top of it, there's no 5 on this screen, that when I click it, I want it to go to another slide. Right? You can also link to websites and stuff too, but for this purpose of revealing an answer, basically I have the answer on the next slide over here, and when I click it, it's going to go to the next slide. I can go back to the problem, or I can go to the next slide. So let's just go back to the problem, and I want to show you how I did that. So I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to right click it, and right here on the drop down menu, right, if you do drop down menu, it says link. And you can link to a website, you can link to another page on this notebook file, which is that's what we're going to do for this, but you can link to a certain file that you have on your computer, so it would start playing a movie or whatever you have on your computer, or open up a document or whatever, or anything you might have attached to the file, so you can link to all kinds of stuff. But what you need to do is, let's go to another slide that has the answer. So basically I have the answer on the next page, so I told it to go to a page on this file. The next page is the one that's going to have the answer, and then it starts off here, which means you have to click the image in the corner. I always move that to the object, that way I can click anywhere on the object for the link to work, and that's all you got to do. So I say I want to go to the next page when I click it, right, and then hit OK, and I can lock it back in place. And basically I click that image and it's going to link to the next page, which now reveals my answer. And if you scroll down here, this is kind of hanging off a little bit. I did the same thing here with these objects, even though these aren't revealing answers. This object here, if I unlock it and you look at the link options here, I told it to go to the previous page. So I'm linking to a page in the file and going back one. So that's how I make my back arrows work, right? And I change it to object, that way I can click it anywhere. I'll show you what this looks like and why I don't like it. I'm going to change it to corner. The link will only work now if they click right here in the corner. That means the image is not a link, only this thing right here is a link. So it's kind of hard to find, and so unless you train the students to do that, to me it's easier to link using the entire object. But maybe that might be annoying too. Maybe they'll accidentally click it and be linking without you wanting them to, but that's how I use it. And then you can also link to the next slide or whatever you want to do, and that could be your next problem, and then you could go to the next page which has the answer. So linking can be used to reveal answers as well. Oh, I do have one more. I thought I was done, but there's one more that I actually used this at the beginning of the whole presentation that you've been going through. Basically, I have all of my information is the same text color as the background, so I can't see it until I move this rectangle behind it. So I have a red rectangle that I'm moving behind the text that I want to be visible. If the red rectangle was going in front of it, I wouldn't see it. Does that make sense? If you have to be behind it in order to see it. So how did I do that? I'm going to unlock it again, right click and unlock. This will allow me to move it wherever I want to, but and this is all text that I want to unlock so I can show you. And let's click it and change the color of it to black so you can see it. That's all of my information that I want to reveal to you. But how did I make it invisible? I typed it all. I went to my color properties and made it the same as whatever my background color is, and now you can't see it. And once you have it there and you don't want it to move, it's a good idea to lock it in place so that won't move. It's there, I just can't move it. That's what locking does. And now I put this red rectangle behind it. And I even put the arrow to tell the students what to do with it. And I click it, and I'm going to lock this arrow, but I'm going to allow it to move vertically. So it will only move up and down. So if I try to go sideways, it won't let it. That way it's always straight with the information I want to reveal, and I pull that straight down. That's drag and reveal. I'm dragging something behind the information. So those are all the reveal techniques that I like. I'll see you guys in a few days when you come face to face, and we'll learn some more.